If you drafted Jonathan Taylor in your fantasy football league, you're probably winning right now. If you didn't draft Jonathan Taylor, you were probably having a very hard time figuring out who you want to start at running back in a given week. You've probably picked up Bam Knight. You probably picked up Michael Carter, who just got cut by the Arizona Cardinals, so he's probably going to be re-signed. It's a little bit of a technicality. In best ball, knowing nothing else, selecting Jonathan Taylor gives you a 62% chance to be in either first or second in your league, which means advancing to the next rounds. That basically means you could be a bad fantasy football player, but if you were like, I don't really like Jonathan Taylor, or I don't really like Chase Brown, I don't really like Jalen Waddle, I don't really like T. Higgins, why? I'll just go ahead and take Jonathan Taylor. You're probably winning your league. And we are halfway through the fantasy football season. And let me throw this to you, Buck. If you didn't really like Jonathan Taylor this year, does it mean you're bad at fantasy football, or did it just mean you had a wrong read?
It just means you had a wrong read. It definitely doesn't mean you're bad at fantasy football. The amount of times that I've missed on things, like I happened to hit on this year, but like the amount of things I've been wrong about over the years, if missing on Jonathan Taylor makes you a bad football player, then I think we're all bad because we've all missed on things like this.
I just find the specific instance of Jonathan Taylor this season so interesting, because there were a lot of reasons to not be into Jonathan Taylor. His pass catching role in the NFL has never been that large. Now, he is running a ton of routes this year and catching more passes than his baseline expectation would be this year. But this is a team where the beat writers every single week were telling us this is the worst quarterback competition we've ever seen. We're saying Daniel Jones cannot do anything. Anthony Richardson cannot do anything. And we're also talking about a guy who has had some mixed results because of what's going on around him in his career. He led the NFL in rushing in 2021. He followed that up with basically his worst season after that in 2022. He got banged up. He was not involved as a pass catcher at all. The most recent 3 seasons, in 2023 and 2024, he played 34 games and he had less than 40 receptions in those games. We're talking about a profile of a guy who, yes, literally, you know what it kind of reminds me of, Buck? It kind of reminds me of old Nick Chubb, where people were so in a camp, either you were a Nick Chubb guy or you weren't a Nick Chubb guy.
I love
and Chubb 3 times a year would totally bury the people. He'd score 3 touchdowns. He'd have 300 rushing yards. 300 is a little bit of an exaggeration, but he would just go nuclear.
Yeah.
But he really never killed the faders because he never caught passes. Nick Chubb never added that into his game the way that Taylor has added it in this year.
Yes. And I think it just kind of goes to show that like so much of this is just circumstantial and kind of luck. Like if you can have success betting on situation and not elite talent, and you can have success betting on elite talent that's not in a good situation. And sometimes that elite talent is in a better situation than you anticipated. And that's what's happening with Jonathan Taylor right now. Because the Colts offense is, to use the word that everybody's using right now, is a friggin' wagon. And you're dead right about the passing game involvement. The problem is that you can't really always predict that. Like we have the past to look at, and sure, Jonathan Taylor wasn't always involved, but now look at him. I mean, all it takes is a coach to make the decision and a quarterback to be able to execute a dump off,
The 2025 Indianapolis Colts are scoring the 3rd most points per drive in NFL history. The 2 teams better than them, the 2007 Randy Moss, Tom Brady, New England Patriots, and the 2013 Peyton Manning record-breaking Denver Broncos.
It's crazy.
And
go ahead.
Obviously, Taylor does have a big part of that, right? I am not meaning, like, I'm certainly not one of these people that thinks that Jonathan Taylor should be an MVP candidate or anything like that. But to say that this offense would be as effective with Chase Brown back there is also wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
He's
Like both
crazy.
of those things are wrong. He is probably the best. It'd be really interesting to see what Jahmyr Gibbs would do in a similar situation with a similar workload. I think they're really comparable. But what makes this specific instance in fantasy football and what makes Jonathan Taylor such a skeleton key this year is that you did not have to select him in the first round. So oftentimes in your given league, Jonathan Taylor is paired with Puka Nacua. He's paired with CeeDee Lamb. He's paired with Jahmyr Gibbs. He's paired with Christian McCaffrey. He's paired with another player who is scoring a ton of points that just makes him insanely OP. And you also, because of where he was selected in drafts, means you don't have him with Nico Collins, Brian Thomas Jr.,
Brock
Malik
Bowers.
Neighbors, Brock Bowers. Yes, right. Brock Bowers versus Jonathan Taylor. I can't tell you how many times I selected Brock Bowers over
I
Jonathan
know.
Taylor.
I could probably tell you. It's probably about like 70 times.
And I think about, okay, the decision I was making at the time, how dumb was that? Was it really that bad? Okay, well, there's a lot of contextual stuff with the Raiders offense, right? I thought that Chip Kelly would sort of adapt to the modern NFL. Chip Kelly has not adapted to the modern NFL at all. I do think that in a similar way of what we've seen with Jonathan Taylor, I actually do think that when the situation breaks right for Bowers, whenever it might be, he gets traded, the Raiders hit on a quarterback in the draft. The Raiders hire Mike McDaniel to be their new offensive coordinator next year. Whatever it might be, Bowers will do the same thing in fantasy football, right? I don't know when it's not going to be this year, right? I think we have enough evidence to say, okay, Geno, he kind of stinks.
That
Chip
was the whole
Kelly,
thing. Like everybody knows Brock Bowers is an elite talent. Like it's just about the situation, and the situation fell. It imploded. It's kind of imploding right now.
yeah.
I think.
I think my it is. And we are recording this right now on Tuesday, October 28th, and their Bowers is going to obviously the injury has been a big part of it too. He played through a knee sprain he shouldn't have played through. Probably made it worse. He's going to be back in week 9 against the Jaguars. He's probably going to have a pretty good fantasy game in week 9 against the Jaguars, assuming that Geno Smith is able to complete a forward pass, which is left to be seen.
It's definitely, it definitely remains to be seen. So I have 29 Jonathan Taylor teams. How many do you think I'm advancing?
I mean, I would assume 22 of them or something like that.
27.
Yeah.
27 out of 29. Nothing.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
this.
you
I
can
never.
put in whatever kind of terrible losing player you want with Jonathan Taylor in the advance. So James Conner, Brandon Ayuk, two of basically the absolute worst picks on the board. Okay, there are not that many of them. Here, let's remove that and let's put in just another 0. Let's put in Jaden Blue, and you're still gonna see just like 36% advance rate.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy, and JT has been known to get dinged up. Like hopefully he doesn't, but like
well, so that
up,
is it's kind of the that's so there you go. Ayuk, like truly one of the like absolute worst picks on the board, 50% advance rate if you have the two of them. So the things going against Jonathan Taylor were he always misses time with injury, right? That was the prevailing narrative. He spent time on the IR last year. He spent time on the IR the year before. He spent time on the IR the year before that. He actually had the one healthy season, right? 2021 was his one healthy season. You had Shane Steichen might be coaching for his job because if they're bad again, he stuck his neck out for Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson, I think we can now look back and say Anthony Richardson might literally be one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL of all time.
Totally.
Because I don't know how you feel about this. I don't feel all that convinced that like the Giants were wrong, the Vikings were wrong about Daniel Jones.
No.
I think Daniel Jones, a totally fine kind of Brock Purdy-esque guy. Anthony Richardson never had a 300-yard game.
It's like through play action, all things are possible. Like when you have Jonathan Taylor and now you have Tyler Warren, even Daniel Jones can do what he's doing. And I'm not gonna. I thought Daniel Jones was terrible. Like coming into this season, I really thought he was pretty bad, and I did not expect this offense to go this well, to be going this well. So, maybe he's turning it around, and maybe he's good, but I just think he's not messing up.
Anyone who said that this was their vision for the Colts season is lying. I think the Jonathan Taylor Bowls, of which there were many, right? I believe DF or Best Ball legend hit him with the gritty 18 was
he might have more than me.
Yeah, he was a huge Jonathan Taylor Bowl. And to be clear, I do think that anyone who totally stuck their neck out on Jonathan Taylor probably played good. Like I am of the belief that if you did that, you probably played pretty well. But if you were at the field or lighter on the field, I think there were totally rational reasons to be concerned about the offensive environment in Indianapolis, because
Yes,
the same insane run blocking unit, it was there last year, right? You're the same incredible play caller. The wide receivers are the same. I mean, Tyler Warren
it's
is a
Tyler
little bit
Warren and the quarterback. It's Tyler Warren and the quarterback and a healthy JT.
yeah, I mean, it's clearly the elevation of quarterback play. I mean, I think that Warren helps.
He's just opening it up. I don't mean like with his play necessarily. What
Yeah.
when Warren is running a crosser, it's just like, I mean, what do you do? It's just they're doing it all the time. He's just running all these routes and they're just running the other way with Jonathan Taylor.
200K Fast Puppy winner Razor 33 with 65 Jonathan Taylor teams, and
I have
Chuck
the second most Jonathan Taylor in Rhode Island. You got to be kidding me.
Amazing.
Keep
Big
losing this
shout
guy.
out. Big shout out to Chuck Amazing with 74
See,
Jonathan
that's
Taylor
crazy. Like, I
teams.
mean, I guess it just depends on the type of player you are. Because like my exposures, he's my ninth most exposed player at 19.3% in Best Ball Mania, and like I'm just not a. My highest is 26.7 with Tank Bigsby. But you know, I just
Shout
don't.
out
I
to
don't get
Tank.
that high. I'm never gonna have. I'm never gonna have 70 shares of anybody.
So through 8 games this season, Jonathan Taylor is averaging 27 PPR points per game. That would be the 9th highest in the last 30 years of any running back. That's better than all but 2 Christian McCaffrey seasons, both of them taking place when he was in Carolina. That's better than some LaDainian Tomlinson seasons. That's better than the legendary David Johnson season. And how about this? It's also better than any one individual Jamal Charles season, which
Crazy.
I think you could win a bar bet on that one.
I
That this
definitely think so.
season
Yeah.
that Jonathan Taylor is having is better than if the kids out there might not remember
No.
the Jamal Charles experience was, and all I guess this is kind of where I'm at, is that I know Jonathan Taylor is incredible, but maybe this is just like nostalgia and my age. It doesn't feel the same as like one of those Jamal Charles seasons. It doesn't feel like a LaDainian Tomlinson season when I'm watching it, and clearly it
Yeah.
is,
Well,
right?
they're running over everybody. I don't recall exactly the circumstances of those other seasons, but like when a team is just dominating, it doesn't feel quite as impressive as when someone's like breaking it and like winning the game. You know,
Yeah, better than any Arian Foster season,
like
which
does three
is really
touchdowns against the
incredible.
Titans really do like? Does it really get your heart going? No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
It
But
pads the wallet.
I'll say this. If I had faded Jonathan Taylor this year the way that I faded Barkley last year, I would feel super dumb. I'd just be
Right.
like, that was just, it was dumb. It wasn't playing the percentages because this was always in the range. Barkley last season, I mean, we're basically seeing it this season. You're seeing why Barkley was a lot of sharp fantasy football players were not interested. He's not getting any passing down work. He is totally reliant on the long runs. He just it seems insane. It took until week 8 for Barkley to have his first run over 20 yards. And I'm
Yeah,
not,
but that's like a. I mean, you got to push back a little bit in the passing. He's catching passes. No.
I mean, he's catching passes the way like Kenneth Gainwell catches passes.
I feel like the utilization is what like utilization bros would want, but the line just isn't pulling it together.
I
Like,
mean,
what
he
if they
has
do though?
24 receptions in 8 games, which would still not even get him close to his career
Yeah, but you
best
guys
when he
always talk
was
about targets. Where's his targets at?
28. And he's averaging
Right.
a career low 6.6 yards per reception. I mean,
It's
basically,
no Jonathan Taylor, but it's not a zero.
no, it's not a zero, and it wasn't a zero last year. I mean, he caught 33 passes for 278 yards last year, but it was, I mean, you we're literally looking at his
Okay,
Pro
so he
Football
caught
Reference
33
page.
passes last year, and he played every game, and he's got 24 now, halfway through the season.
Oh, well, I mean, frankly, no one wants to admit it, but they have to try and find to get him away the ball because he's not been a good
I
rusher.
know. Yeah, no, I got it. Yeah, I mean, it's like hard to say with someone like Saquon if they've lost juice because they're like kind of like sauntering up to the line, waiting for a hole. And
I don't think that I don't believe that he's lost all the juice. Like he's clearly still a good player, but it 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 is just an illustration looking at what Barkley did last year and looking
mhm.
what he's doing this year of how these bets on these primary ground first running backs can just end up being the worst picks in fantasy,
I
right?
know,
This is
especially now. Like, how do you keep Tank Bigsby off the field now?
how do
Right?
you,
You
how do
know,
you keep Tank Bigsby? Well, and Barkley as a 28-year-old running back did limp off in their last game with a groin injury. He's
how
supposed
do
to
you
be
keep him
okay,
off the field?
but
How do
we'll
you
but
keep
we'll
that
find
dog
out.
off the field?
At the end of the day, I would say I don't think being out on Jonathan Taylor was the smartest thing you could have done because this was always in the range of outcomes. What I will say is that Jonathan Taylor is the 101 next year. I'm sorry, bro. It's just not. It's just the way it goes, man. This is like everything in life is cycles, right? Everything in
Mhm.
life is cycles.
Mhm.
Jonathan Taylor, the perfect player to illustrate this is T. Higgins. T. Higgins has a bad year, he's a 5th-round pick. T. Higgins has a good year, he's a 2nd-round pick. You always want to be price sensitive with these guys. And if next year we are forced to take Jonathan Taylor over Jamar Chase, over Justin Jefferson, over CD Lamb, if Jahmyr Gibbs, if David Montgomery is not on the Lions or a severely diminished part of the Lions offense,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm probably going to have Gibbs ranked over Jonathan Taylor in that scenario
Well,
next season.
you know who's going to slide right into the Jonathan Taylor draft slot is probably Genty. So
Oh,
Genty,
I can already fast forward to next year. I'll have 15.7% of
some
two
yeah, some
return
there
Ashton
will
Genty.
be like because of the dynamic that you just described, there will be another Jonathan Taylor waiting for us to draft. We just have to find out who they are, and it might be a wide receiver. You never know.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and tell me if you faded Jonathan Taylor in fantasy